Hello and welcome to Thursdays with Annette. I'm so glad you've joined me today because I've got my apron on, I'm in my busy place, my kitchen, and I appreciate you tuning in for today. Now the recipe that I'm making for you is something that is kind of something I grew up with, and I wonder whether you've actually ever had one. It's a Chinese omelette. Now I've made this authentic and fabulous, so I'm really excited to be able to cook it for you today. So it's out of this fabulous book, number 5, and this is the recipe we're making today. It's the Chinese omelette. Yes, get excited. But before we get into that, I first wanted to congratulate our winners from last week's show, where my gorgeous little granddaughter popped in and helped Nanny make chicken pizziola, my little Portia. And the winners, yes, we've got 3 from the show: Robin Kirshner, Jan Quick, and Fran Yates. All can get a signed copy of their cookbook. So there you go. Now, before I talk about the ingredients, there's a special lady having a birthday today. So happy birthday, Gail Roberts. Woohoo! I know you're only 22 or 23. Anyway, but happy birthday, sweetie. Now, the recipe ingredients we need, I've got 3 mushrooms here because we only need half a cup. This only makes a serve for 2. And what I do is I'll actually make it and cut it in half, so you get the 2 serves. So you've got half a cup of sliced mushrooms, a quarter of a cup of frozen peas. We need a quarter of a cup of sliced shallots, 1/2 cups of the bean shoots, and this is the key to it. I think that's really important that we have them in this particular omelette. Some chicken stock powder. You can use vegetable if you prefer. We're going to use 5 eggs, but we're not using all of the eggs, so we'll check on that in a minute. Now, the key to this recipe is the authentic sauce that goes on an omelette, this particular omelette. And you need 2 teaspoons of the oyster sauce, a teaspoon of corn flour, and 1/3 cup of water. This is so easy to make. I make it all the time for me and Billy for an easy lunch, or even sometimes a Friday night dinner, so it's easy. So when I'm going to start chopping, but I'm going to put my grill on, so it's ready and hot for me when I need it. So on goes the grill. So it's ready. All right, so now let's start chopping. So we need the mushrooms, as I said. Now, I tend to cut the mushrooms in half, and that way they're not such big pieces in the omelette, and then you just slice. So it's really you're only chopping up mushrooms and shallots for this recipe. So yeah, super easy. All right, so there's let me get my measurements here because we only need half a cup. As I said, it serves 2, and it's a fantastic recipe. Now, you might notice I'm using my fabulous, very sharp and gorgeous knives, and of course they are now on the website. I know, get excited, you asked for it, and so I'm giving it to you. We can give you these knives now at a great price with a special deal. You've only just got to go and check on my website and you'll see why they're my favourite knives. I've had them for years. So check it out, because you even get free postage. Lots of good deals at the moment. All right, so now we're going to do the shallots. Take off the little bits at the end. Now, I call them shallots. I know I'm an old lady. Everyone has different names for it. Eschalots. What else do they call them? Spring onions. But I'm a shallot girl. Sorry. All right, so we want a quarter of a cup. And just go through. I always use the green part as well because it's just fabulous and it gives a bit of colour. So once again, we want a quarter of a cup. So we don't need much. Remember, it makes it for 2. It's out of book 5. If you've just joined me, I'm making Chinese omelette. All right, so now I'm going to put them in there because they go together. And then I'm moving my chopping board because we're done with that now. And I'm going to mix up the egg mix. Now, we need 3 egg whites, so let's do that first. Just separate them. 1, 2, And this is one way I'm saving on the fat count because there's 6 grams of fat in every yolk. So it just makes it a little bit easier for us that are watching our waistline, and also it's good for our heart health as well to not have too much saturated fat. And then we put in 2 whole eggs. Now this is something that you're going to be able to whip up with no problem at all because it's so easy. And then I put in a teaspoon of the stock powder. You know, it's a level teaspoon. There we go. And then I get my trusty whisk. And I'm just going to beat that up. And then we start cooking. I know! How easy is this? All right. So just combine them all. And what we'll do is we'll make the omelette, put it out on the plate, and then in the same fry pan, I'll make the sauce. And you have to make the sauce with it, okay? It's a mandatory request from Annette. All right, so there we go. So let's pull over our cooktop. I am going to leave it at that for a minute. Oh, we need some cooking spray. Don't forget the cooking spray. So if you're just joining me and thinking, what's going to Annette put in her pan? It is the Chinese omelette from Book 5. You are going to love it. It serves 2. So what I'm going to do now is I just want to wait for this to heat up a little bit. The key is you don't want to have it too hot because you don't want to burn the base of the omelette, okay? So it's just on a moderate, not a real high heat. So in goes the shallots. Now, the good news is you can make this several different ways. So let me just check. I like to spread them out a bit, and I'm going to put the bean shoots on the top. Oh my gosh, I always feel a little bit thrilled when I make this because I must tell you, I have a lovely memory of Chinese omelette where we would go down, because we were from the northern beaches when I was growing up in Sydney, and we would go down to the Collaroy Chinese, and I would always order the Chinese prawn omelette, and this is like primary school days, and they'd give me a half serve, and I just loved it. And I remember my mum would always say to me, Annette, order something different. And I'd go, okay, but when I got there I was like, no, I want the Chinese omelette. So every time I eat this, I go back to Collaroy Chinese thinking I was the most fanciest girl on the planet. Because I was eating out at this Chinese restaurant. So, okay, we're going to cook them. And let's just give them a stir up. Now, they only take a couple of minutes to cook. And remember, I've got my grill on because we will finish the omelette off under the grill, so that's important. And I mean, the variations, let me tell you about the variations, because if you don't want a plain omelette, you can make it with chicken. So you can have a chicken Chinese omelette, you can have a ham one, or you can actually have the prawn Chinese omelette. And I tell you in the recipe the variation on how much you need for it and how to do it. I like the dietitian tip as well. She says the Dietary Guides of Australia recommends we have 5 serves of veggies a day, and yes, we do. This omelette provides an ideal way to include vegetables into a healthy eating plan, especially for people with diabetes or heart disease. That's right, because it's a healthy omelette. All right, so we're just going to cook them just a little bit more. As you can see there, I'll just hold it up for you so you can have a look. They're cooking nicely in the pan. And this is a good shaped fry pan. I've got it's a non-stick, and it's just a good size. You don't want it too big, or if you only want to do individual ones, you do it in a smaller one and divide it in 2 so you get your individual. But I like to just slice it down the middle and we share it. I mean, you could, if you were really hungry, make this your meal at dinner time, your main meal as well, instead of sharing it. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to check it to make sure everything's been distributed nicely. I don't want a big whole chunk of peas over this side. And then I just move them down. And all I have to do now is pour my egg mix over the mix, the vegetables. That's right, get it all out. Fantastic. This is so easy, and you know what? It's just one of those recipes that you can make up pretty quick, especially if you've got surprise visitors or whatever. Now, I'm just going to sit there and let that cook just for a couple of minutes. When I'm ready to go under the grill, I'll show you how it looks, because you just want it to still have a liquid look to the top of it as well. Now, I love that everyone's enjoying the Tuesdays with Annette. We're going to continue them into June. I'm committed to you guys, especially while we're still, a lot of us are being isolated at home. And I'm enjoying the feedback. I mean, on Tuesday we did rock cakes. If you haven't watched it, you need to go and check it out, because it really is a simple, easy recipe, and especially if you've got kids and you want them to make something for afternoon tea over the weekend. So check out Tuesday with Annette. It's a fantastic one. Now, actually, next Tuesday I'm going to be making the beef and bacon burgers from book 7, and that recipe is already on the website waiting for you, so you can go and get it, buy the ingredients, and then we'll cook it together on Tuesday. So that's fantastic. All right, so now you can see this is still wet. I can't actually lift it up and show you because it's a bit runny still, but I'm going to put it under the grill now. Now, just watch your handle. I mean, you don't want to put that too far under. We're going to leave that just for a couple of minutes and we'll check on it later. And then all we have to do is basically serve it up. So let's get rid of this, turn that off, move this away. So now I must say that Bill and I, when we have this, we often make some fried rice. I think that's in book 3, but sometimes we also make the cauliflower fried rice, and that's fantastic, especially if cauliflowers are cheap, and that's in the Cooking for 1 or 2 book, and it's just nice to have that with it. Or you could do a salad as well. Now, I must preempt, because next week's Thursday with Annette, you've all been asking for a banana bread. First, I mean, we've been doing this show for over 3 years, yeah? And you've asked for a banana bread. Now, I have a recipe of banana bread, but it's not actually in the cookbooks. It's actually in the coffee shake thing, and you use a sachet of this. So I'll tell you about that in a minute. Let me just go check my pan. It's perfect. So there you go. Can you see? That is it cooked. Actually, you know what I've got to do? I've got to make the sauce. Hello? Annette, I'm just a bit excited because we haven't had lunch yet, and I know where this is going. It's going in my belly. All right, so let's make this up. We need the, actually I'll do it in the, I like to put the corn flour in the water. There we go. Now we put 2 teaspoons of the oyster sauce, and this is what really gives it that Chinese flavours. So you want 2 teaspoons. That's it. And 1 more. Perfect. I'm going to just give that a whisk. And in it goes. And really it takes seconds for this to boil and slightly thicken. Now, while I'll just leave that to the side. That's done. Hello, easy peasy. Now what I want to do is I want to now serve this, so I'm going to cut it down the middle, if you can see. Just be careful with your non-stick pan, so I'm not going to press too hard, but I want to make sure I'm getting it cut nicely. Then you get your lifter and just go around the edge. Here we go. That's it. And then, actually I'll use a fork as well. Then you lift it over each side. There's one. And here's the other. So there's our 2 serves. And all I've got to do now is pour my beautiful sauce that goes over this, which makes it taste so divine and so fabulous. And there it is. I know! Chinese omelette, book 5. Now, as I said, don't forget, Tuesday is beef and bacon burgers, and next Thursday is the banana bread. And as I said, it's using a sachet of shake. Now, I have tested this recipe and it is best with the iced coffee, but you can use the vanilla or the chocolate. It still works great. Now, you can buy these singly on the website. So if you're making an order this week, grab a sachet at least so you can make it after I've shown you. But it is the best banana bread you'll ever eat. Now, when I think about this omelette, once again, I want to say, who knew weight loss could be so deliciously healthy? Now, if you'd like to win book 5, you know what you've got to do. Hello, it's like, share, and in the comments, hashtag simply too good. Hashtag simply too good. And I'll pick 3 people to win book 5 personally signed. So thanks for joining me. If you want any more tips or recipes, you know where to find us at simplytoogood.com.au. And I look forward not only to my lunch, but seeing you next time. Bye now.